Robert Redford passed away on January 4, 2025, at age 88 due to complications from small intestine cancer. The legendary Hollywood icon's death occurred in a hospital in Culver City, California. His passing marked the end of an era as one of the last surviving stars from Hollywood's golden age. Robert Redford's remarkable life story was shaped by health challenges and personal tragedies. He went through surgery in 2022 to remove a cancerous tumor in his abdomen, but his condition deteriorated despite treatment. Fans wondered about Redford's health problems over the last several years, especially when his public appearances became less frequent. Is Robert Redford ill? Became an increasingly pressing question as he fought his final illness. His strength during this battle reflected his lifelong resilience, which started early when he contracted polio as a child. At age 11, he spent weeks confined to bed after pushing himself too hard during an ocean swim. Robert Redford battles small intestine cancer. Robert Redford's cancer looks a lot like the one that took his son James's life in 2020. James fought bile duct cancer while Robert had a related condition in his small intestine. Their health battles show just how complex gastrointestinal cancers can be and how they affect entire families. Robert's cancer story started out of the blue. Doctors found the disease during a routine screening, just like they found his son James's cancer. James's doctors spotted cancer in his bile duct in November 2019 as he waited for a liver transplant. This kind of surprise discovery through medical imaging happens often with digestive system cancers. These cancers usually don't show symptoms until they're pretty far along. Robert's small intestine cancer and his son's bile duct cancer are connected because both hit the digestive system. The bile ducts are tiny tubes that link the liver to the small intestine. This explains why these conditions share symptoms and treatments, even though they affect different parts of the body. People often miss these signs or think they're just getting older. That's why many patients, including Robert, don't find out until the cancer is advanced. Medical specialists confirmed Robert Redford had small intestine cancer in 2022. They usually treat it with surgery, chemo, and radiation, pretty much like bile duct cancer. Robert had surgery to remove a tumor from his abdomen, as mentioned earlier. Doctors say these cancers are tough to treat. They tell us surgery works best if they catch the cancer early, before it spreads too much. Chemo often follows surgery to kill any leftover cancer cells and keep it from coming back. Dr. Mintella Hayter, who knows all about gut cancers, says long-term inflammation raises your chances of getting these cancers. Being overweight, having diabetes, cirrhosis, or fatty liver disease makes it more likely too, but doctors often can't pin down exactly what causes these cancers. Anyone could get them. Medical experts know these digestive system cancers are hard to beat. Sometimes they can treat them, but it's rough on patients. Doctors wanted to hit Robert's cancer from all angles, using different treatments together. News about Robert Redford's cancer got his fans worried worldwide. Support flooded social media, and people kept searching "Is Robert Redford ill?" and "Robert Redford health problems" to learn more about their favorite actor's health. Fans reacted this way because Redford means so much to American movies. They remembered his amazing roles in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, and All the President's Men while hoping he'd get better. News outlets covered his health carefully, but information stayed limited as Robert wanted privacy. Health groups used this chance to teach people about digestive system cancers. Medical experts pushed for regular checkups, especially for people with higher risks or family history. Cancer support groups got more donations and questions after Redford's diagnosis. This shows how famous people's health challenges can get others to care more and help out. Robert faced his illness with the same quiet strength he showed in his movies. He kept details private and stayed close to family and friends. People didn't hear much about his treatments, but they worried more as they saw less of him in public. Redford's health declines in 2024. Robert Redford's battle with small intestine cancer reached a critical phase in early 2024. His original treatment in 2022 gave hope that the worst had passed. Medical scans revealed a harsh reality: the disease came back more aggressively. People increasingly asked, what disease does Robert Redford have, as his health declined faster? Routine follow-up examinations in January 2024 brought devastating news to Redford and his medical team. The cancer had spread to nearby organs despite aggressive treatment, after his 2022 surgery. Oncologists observed this recurrence was particularly aggressive. Tumor markers showed much higher elevation compared to his original diagnosis. Medical experts who knew about cases like Redford's explained small intestine cancers often follow this pattern. They seem to respond to treatment at first, then return with more resistance to standard therapies. His medical team quickly created a new treatment plan with targeted immunotherapy and experimental treatments through compassionate use programs. Notwithstanding that, Redford's body reacted poorly to these second-line treatments. His weight dropped noticeably. He needed multiple hospital stays because of dehydration, severe pain, and treatment side effects. His physicians openly discussed available medical intervention limits by March 2024. They suggested a move toward palliative care to keep his quality of life. Robert's journey shared similarities with his son James's final months. Robert's resilience amazed even his medical team. He managed to keep his lucidity and stayed actively involved in treatment decisions through much of 2024. This was proof of the determination that defined his character both on and off screen. Redford's family gathered at his Utah home after learning about cancer's return. His children Shauna, Jamie, and Amy stayed close, creating a schedule so someone would always be with him during this tough time. Of course, this family unity gave him crucial emotional support as he faced growing physical limitations. Redford chose to move to hospice care in April 2024. This change marked a fundamental shift from trying to cure to providing comfort. His family turned part of his home into a care suite. Medical professionals could give specialized care while protecting his privacy and dignity. Close friends and colleagues started making quiet visits to say goodbye. Family members carefully planned these visits to avoid overwhelming the sick actor. Visitors often spoke about how Redford still showed interest in their lives and work, despite his failing health. Several former co-stars noted how he kept his charm and wit even in such difficult circumstances. The family began making final arrangements based on Redford's wishes. These included plans for a private memorial service and environmental conservation projects instead of flowers causes that shaped much of his later years' activism. Fans noticed Redford's complete absence from public life in 2024. Searches for his Robert Redford ill and Robert Redford health problems increased. He missed events like the Sundance Film Festival and environmental gatherings where he usually appeared. News outlets reported on his declining health, but details remained limited because his family controlled information tightly. People started to guess about his condition on social media platforms, mixing genuine worry with unfounded rumors about his health. The family released a short statement in June 2024. Robert is currently focusing on his health and spending time with family. He is deeply touched by the outpouring of support from fans worldwide. This confirmed his illness, but left many questions unanswered about how critically ill he was. Film industry friends respected the family's privacy. They occasionally gave vague updates suggesting his condition was challenging. Medical experts not involved in his care explained in media interviews how small intestine cancer typically progresses. This helped people learn about what disease Robert Redford had and its likely course. The Sundance Institute announced plans for a special tribute program to honor his legacy just before his passing. This indirect acknowledgement of his serious condition raised more public concern about Redford's health in late 2024. Redford says goodbye to family and friends. Robert Redford's family gathered around him in his final months. They focused on meaningful connections rather than medical interventions. The legendary actor who engaged audiences for decades with powerful performances now faced his greatest personal challenge. He approached his own mortality with quiet dignity that defined his career, having already lost 2 children. Redford chose his beloved Utah ranch to spend his final days. This peaceful sanctuary had helped him cope with his son James' death in 2020. The sprawling property's scenic beauty created the perfect space for reflection and family gatherings. The natural surroundings comforted a man who cherished nature throughout his life. The ranch became a private hospice where medical professionals could care for him while protecting his dignity. His family created a comfortable care suite in his home. This let him stay connected to the landscape he loved deeply. Fans wondered, is Robert Redford ill as rumors spread, but he kept strict privacy and shared these moments only with his closest family. His health problems stemmed from the same digestive system that had failed his son James, yet he still appreciated his tranquil surroundings. Though growing frailer, he made sure to spend time outdoors. He often sat quietly watching the natural world that sparked his environmental activism. James Redford's death in 2020 hit the family hard. Robert said through his spokeswoman Cindy Berger that the grief is immeasurable with the loss of a child. His remaining children, Shauna, Amy, and Dylan, carried this thought as they prepared their goodbyes. The family took turns staying by Redford's side through his final trip. Close friends and former colleagues made quiet visits, carefully timed to avoid overwhelming him. Many later spoke of how he stayed interested in their lives despite his condition. Robert is mourning with his family during this difficult time and asks for privacy, Berger had stated after James' death. This same need for privacy marked Redford's final chapter. His family protected his dignity and peace during vulnerable times. Redford had lost his son Scott to sudden infant death syndrome in 1959, and then James to bile duct cancer. His family knew the emotional weight of this final farewell. James died at 58 after doctors diagnosed cancer in November 2019 while he waited for a liver transplant. Redford's childhood illness shaped his resilience. Robert Redford's battle with cancer wasn't his first major health challenge. His childhood illness gave him early lessons in persistence and determination that helped him face health struggles throughout his life. Robert Redford got polio when he was 11 years old. This devastating viral disease attacked his nervous system and could cause paralysis. The experience left a lasting mark on his life, long before anyone would ask, "What disease does Robert Redford have?" about his cancer diagnosis. The virus spread through contaminated water or food and attacked the spinal cord, often leading to permanent disability. Young Redford spent weeks in isolation, a scary experience for any child in the 1940s when polio epidemics swept through American communities regularly. The disease took away his physical strength. He stayed in bed while other boys his age played outdoors freely. Redford showed remarkable grit during this time. He refused to give up and focused on getting better. He did his exercises faithfully and worked hard to rebuild his strength. This early fight against illness became the foundation for his resilience that showed up again during his final health battles. Iron lungs symbolized the terror of polio in the 1940s. These large metal chambers enclosed patients' bodies and left only their heads exposed. These mechanical ventilators breathed for patients whose respiratory muscles stopped working because of the virus. Children of Redford's generation feared nothing more than being trapped in an iron lung. Hospital wards filled with these imposing machines during peak polio outbreaks. Each machine held someone who couldn't breathe on their own. The rhythmic whooshing sound of iron lungs echoed through polio wards across America. Redford didn't need this extreme treatment, but the threat of the iron lung made him more determined to recover. Living through this era changed how Redford valued health and physical ability. His early brush with serious illness prepared him for facing Robert Redford health problems later, including his cancer battle. Facing death as a child gave him a unique outlook that helped him handle personal tragedies and health challenges. Redford never stopped being grateful for scientific advances that protected future generations from polio. He particularly thanked Dr. Jonas Salk, whose vaccine came out in 1955 and drastically cut polio cases worldwide. Redford's personal experience with the disease gave him a deep understanding of the vaccine's importance. The question, "Is Robert Redford ill?" meant different things throughout his life, from childhood polio to his final cancer diagnosis. Each health challenge tested him, but he managed to keep the perspective he gained from seeing medical science overcome seemingly impossible diseases. Redford sometimes talked about his polio experience when discussing public health issues. His generation lived through something unique. They knew polio's terror firsthand, but also saw science nearly wipe it out through vaccination. This experience shaped his understanding of medical progress and scientific research throughout his life. How he chose to spend his last days. Redford wanted an active semi-retirement. "Moving on doesn't mean you retire," he once explained. "When you really talk about retirement, you're talking about something stopping. For me, this means going back to my artwork and directing." He stayed involved as an executive producer on projects like Dark Winds and developed 109 East Palace, a film about J. Robert Oppenheimer. The Sundance Institute's founder saw deep connections between his son's legacy and his own. The Institute remembered James as a fierce supporter of storytelling's power to affect the issues that matter most, noting his work on clean energy, dyslexia, and organ donation. Redford found peace knowing these shared values would live on through both their work. At almost 90, Redford faced his final chapter with loved ones nearby, showing the same grace and strength that helped him through past family tragedies.